Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Bragaton. Let's head to the Imperium. We'll probably be waylaid. Lord Captain, Ravor on the line. Astropaths are going crazy in their little chamber. They're reporting severe warp disturbances along our intended route. It looks like the ball is completely impassable. I've seen this before, yes. And if you ask me, going in there is not a good idea. For us or any other void ship. So you're saying that not only will I break through the maw to the Imperium, but I'll cover myself in glory as the conqueror of the raging warp. Forward. I'll see to it, Lord Captain. The Emperor protects. By the grace of the Emperor, I've been charged with chronicling the voyage that my blessed commander, Lord Captain Donnie Dawson, intends to undertake through that turbid tract of the warp known as the Maw. The thought of what lies ahead fills our souls with terror, but we all have faith in the light of the Emperor. May his protection be with us now. Charted course for expedition. Report from Navigator's Sanctum. Lord Captain, we have locked into the blessed light of the Astronomicon, and are ready to make our first warp jump to the Hermitage. Once in the Void Station's orbit, we'll carry out maintenance liturgies, and with luck, exchange information with other trade void ships there that are using that region as a rendezvous point. The second warp jump will be made to the witch-cursed world, a foul and lifeless planet, at which point we'll assess the state of the vessel. A third warp jump is planned to Port Wander, where, the Protector willing, we'll reach the vast expanse of the Imperium, and we will abide there in safety. Message from the Astropathic Choir. Lord Captain, we once again draw your attention to the fact that the warp region of the Maw is more turbulent than usual. The Diviner's Vigil portends death for us, and much worse besides. This is not our first decade perceiving the void. We have seen terrible storms, but none like this. We beseech you, please have mercy on us. If that be not your will, we stand ready to serve until the end. After offering up the requisite prayers, the crew received a Vox address from the Blessed Lord Captain, in which our commander gave the order to initiate the jump to the Hermitage. We made it to the Hermitage, an outcome made possible solely by the Emperor's mercy. The ship has been chewed up by the ravenous Immaterium, and madness has taken root across our decks and stalks among us, staring us in the eyes. The vessel's in orbit around the station, gone by thousands of silent satellites, the jettisoned bodies of the dead. I spent the entire jump in the murky depths of the Astropathic Choir Bay, where acolytes of the ship's surgeon walked back and forth in silence. After singing the healing liturgy from beginning to end, they marched among the psychers, who had been medicated into unconsciousness. Any psycher who awoke, often with howls of horror, was quickly pacified with a sharp jab from an electrified baton. But my attention was wholly captured by Adira Tlass, gripping the shoulders of each astropath in turn, and staring into their eyes. She compelled the raving psychers to collapse with a visceral cry, curling up on the deck with all thought of resistance gone from their mind. How many did she save? How many would have perished without her? So I didn't have her my last time I attempted this, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we attempted this after we killed Adira. Every moment now, I hear a voice full of vehement ire. It is the voice of the angel of the Emperor. It is so ferocious, my very blood fears it, fleeing my body through my ears, eyes, and nose. The angel bade me compile a picked chronicle of the horrors recorded by the servo skulls in the ship's bays. May whoever finds it know the torments we suffered before death. Incident report. I saw the picked recordings made on various decks with my own eyes. With horror and avid curiosity, I relished each bloody detail, drinking the stream of chaotic, incomprehensible scenes. Nameless dread blossomed in my soul. I saw a bloody massacre in the Enginarium, people armed with tools bashing each other's heads in. I saw a deck full of violently convulsing bodies covered in a layer of mold and sprouting grotesque fungi. I witnessed a crowd of crew members walk toward an opening airlock with mindless, exultant smiles on their faces, and be caught a moment later in a wave of air and wrenched out into the cold embrace of nothingness. With my own eyes, I saw a gunner steadily hitting a large caliber shell with a wrench, and inside a cogitator, I could just make out the bloody remains of an engine seer, and possibly squeezed in among the tangled wires. So much horror, so little hope. Engine Seer's Report. Report from Engine Seer Deck. My lord, it grieves me to report the demise of 27.61% of the blessed machine spirits entrusted to my care. Reactors 2 and 3 required expedited burials, and the deck's crew held a vigil in their memory. The servitors have logged at least 11 breaches in the whole exterior, and at least 3 in the whole interior. With my lord's gracious permission, I'll endeavor to save what can still be saved. The Omniscient knows all, comprehends all. Hermitage Station Situation Report. Scouting Expedition Report. I don't know how they haven't gone crazy yet, sitting in the middle of this warp storm. There are around 1,000 people there, a few hundred outcasts and anchorites living permanently on the station, and the crew of a trading vessel that barely made it as far as the Hermitage won't be departing ever again. It seems they spend whole days sitting under their crystal dome praying, eating ration packs, and watching as reality loses its mind. They say the Emperor will protect them against the coming tempest. Of course they do. He's the only thing they can trust in now. For them, there's nowhere else to turn. We offered them passage on our ship. Not one said yes. Mad. All of them. When the message came through the Voxnet, I struggled to hear it over the whispering of the angel in my ears. My honorable lord gave the order to make the warp jump to the witch-cursed world. We're at the witch-cursed world, a place where we are doomed to perish. That is what the Emperor's angel told me, his voice almost impossible to bear. It made me record every drop of sorrow. My chronicle will spread his word through the warp and sow terror in all who come to know of our dire voyage. So speaks the angel, and my own thoughts are so muddled that all I can do now is submit and bear witness. As soon as the ship exited the warp, the voice of our fearless Lord Captain ordered the crew to begin repairs. But not all of them, far from all of them, heeded this order, gripped as they were by terror and despair, just as I was. The Lord Captain's honorable companion Heinrich Van Calix personally led the ship's hands to the most serious damaged decks. First he admonished the cowardly crew members who refused to do their duty, then he banished the fear from their hearts with a single shot. Verily, the man's mercy is great indeed. I left the Astropathic Choir Bay and spent this jump in the Navigator's Sanctum. I do not dare describe the horrors I witnessed there, or how my heart grieves for every one of the dozens who perished on this journey. The warp was merciless toward us, and only luck allowed me to escape the bloody harvest it reaped there. Furthermore, when the malevolent tentacles of the warp reached into our souls, and a bloody inscription in an unholy language began to appear on the bulkhead, the Emperor granted me the blessing of bearing witness to a miracle. Sister Argenta, entirely undaunted, marched up to the bulkhead and erased the words with a fearless swipe of her hand. She turned to us with a smile and said, "It is only blood. Do not fear the Immaterium, for its nightmares are nothing before the Emperor's light." In that moment, I had faith that all was not yet lost. Today, I believe I was mistaken. The losses and damage are enormous. They say there was a mutiny. The Master Helmsman reports 1. That the odds of surviving another jump forward are 0. The odds of a successful jump backward are also 0, but the second 0 is slightly less definitive. Internal systems are failing. Cogitators are experiencing periodic failures. Failure. Witch-cursed world situation report. Engine Seer Avlier's report from Augur Station 12. We must not make planetfall. I know what I saw, and no, we must not set down on that planet. It's not because the wind could tear the hull off the landing shuttle in the blink of an eye, or because the temperature on the surface fluctuates between red-hot plasma and absolute zero. No, it's because planets do not have faces, but this one did. A fast face of jagged plateaus, eyes of fiery tornadoes, and a mouth made from a crater half a continent across. And I saw that face smiling at me. It saw me. It saw all of us. We must not make planetfall. Emperor have mercy on us. Addendum. Engine Seer Avlier was executed 4 hours after submitting this report for fomenting panic among the crew. Incident report. The pit chronicle recorded by the eyes of the servo skulls made my heart stutter. In horror, I watched as a crewman who seemed perfectly healthy thrown against the shackles pinning him to an operating table, and a group of doctors whispering excitedly among themselves, drew out their steel surgical instruments and eagerly began cutting into his flesh. I cried out as I watched engine seers burning holy incense and chanting the prayer to awaken the plasma generator's machine spirit. The young acolyte, his heart wavering, accidentally disrupted the liturgy, releasing the motive force into the power circuit before it was time. My poor eyes were blinded by the white light of the explosion. After that, I was silent, for that was the only way I could continue to watch. Technomats in dirty coveralls reverentially poured chalices of blood onto the base of a macabre tree. A weapon pointed upward, its supports outspread like branches, and hanging from them like ripe fruit were the bodies of the Bay's officers. After tossing aside his discharged lasgun, a priest brought his fingers to his bleeding ears and then daubed these crimson words on the bulkhead. Don't listen to him. He is no angel. Who was he talking to? Me? Scarlet roses, their buds bleeding, were growing through the bulkheads, which were covered with patches of rot. Crew members in black uniforms incinerated them with flamethrowers, weeping black tears and roaring with maniacal laughter. A string of people silently entered an airlock, above which was written Hangar C-11-2, and were lost in the darkness. As a deputy Cardo artifacts, I know the ship's layout well. There has never been a Hangar C-11-2. The unknown has touched our vessel, it has taken root in it, and now we're all in the clutches of the Immaterium. Navigational forecast. Report from Navigator's Sanctum. Lord Captain, report that, to our disgrace, we failed to safeguard the crew of the Navigator's Sanctum. During the warp jump, virtually the entire crew was afflicted with monstrous deformations, which we cannot bring ourselves to recount. The senior officers began the last watch. We were here alone. We gave all the junior crew the mercy of death. We sealed the airlocks, as the echoes of our pain were great enough to drive the uninitiated to madness. Lead us where you will, onward to Port Wander, or back. We will serve and steer the ship as long as we can. Report from the ship's confessor. Master's report. The rousing speech from the Lord Captain, which was broadcast over the Vox system, failed to have the desired effect on the corruption-afflicted crew. After the execution of every 10th crew member, those who remained promptly formed teams to repair the primary systems. Over the static and the howling of the unholy warp spirits that had infiltrated our Vox system, we heard the voice of our Lord Captain, who ordered us to make the warp jump to Port Wander. The senior officers from all decks gave a general report to my blessed Lord Captain. According to the assessments of all the ship's services, the chances of our favorable outcome of a jump to Port Wander were 0. On behalf of the entire crew, they declared that serving under our glorious commander had been an honor, and if it was his will, they were ready to forge onward to meet their deaths. Glory to House Von Valancius and its valiant servants. We're all prepared to die that very hour, and then the Lord Captain bade us die. Praise the Emperor, for we're going home. Report from Navigator's Sanctum. Lord Captain, warp jump to the Hermitage cannot be calculated. We cannot detect its shadow within the sacred radiance of the Astronomicon. The warp storms are obstructing everything. We think our only chance is to make a longer jump to Footfall. Our chances of survival are low, but not non-existent. Emperor preserve us. Our path became clear. Footfall was our destination. The warp jump is complete. We are still ourselves, and we are alive, although only a tenth of those who set out on this expedition remains. I think I lost more last time. We have seen everything, and now nothing can dent the crew's spirit. I cannot say the same for my own. The left side was engulfed in a terrible fire, threatening to undermine the main caliber arsenal chambers. Holding tighter to their faith, the crew members responded as one to the harsh voice of our illustrious Lord Captain, and rushed to save what remained of the vessel. The angel no longer speaks to me, and a strange emptiness has settled within my soul. Carrying this deficiency inside me is unbearable. Here ends my chronicle. My duty has been fulfilled. I'll append a report about the sorry state of the ship after I go to the engine series to request voluntary servitization. The Emperor protects. Ship status report. Report from Navigator's Sanctum. The warp is a sly and insidious beast, Lord Captain. We're ready to acknowledge that now. It was pleased that we admitted our defeat. That is why it let us come back. We believe there could be only one reason for that. An even worse fate awaits us here. Master Steward's report. Crew losses 87%. Due to the death of the acting trans-mechanic on the engineer deck. I'm reporting that the damage to the ship is widespread and all-encompassing. We're running diagnostics now. Thanks to the ship's confessor reading extracts from the Code of Punishment over the Vox system, the emergency repairs are completed much sooner, and the ship's critical node saved. Report on crew morale. Report from Deck 1 Senior Officer Fount. We're avoidsmen, sir. We know we will die long before we ever get the chance to soil ourselves in our sickbed. We know our trade. We conquer the void, discover stars, ship freight, and plunder forgotten planets. And we die. We die in ways so horrible that most people can't even imagine such a death. But we've gone to a place others fear to even think about. We come back from there along with our Lord Captain. Next time the warp tries to play its games, we'll tell it, what else do you have to throw at us? Report on Reactorium Incident. Master Helmsman's report. I'd be willing to swear that Generator 6's power circuit unit was switched off when we began the warp jump. There are cracks on the casing, the enclosure is damaged. We'd never start up that piece of junk, would have blown in seconds, and I have no idea how it switched itself on. No one from the crew touched it. When the last generator failed, energy supply should have been cut off, but number 6 continued to run. It dragged us along for 18 minutes, even though it should have exploded after 18 milliseconds. I don't know how that happened. The Emperor protects. We can try it again. I don't remember if I did the die option last time. Oh, here we go. So same thing. I did not inherit this void ship only to destroy it in the roiling immaterium. Let someone less valuable deal with them all. I'll see to it, Lord Captain. Okay. We need to go here. Yeah, I don't remember if I chose the die option in my first playthrough or not. I didn't make it here in time. Oh, Smuggler's Cache. I think that's from the other system we explored that talked about a Smuggler's Cache. The one with the Arbitrator's ship that they found that had destroyed the Syndicate. Hey, we've got to, yeah, 2 escort ships. I think I didn't finish saying my sentence. pretty cool. I basically have a whole fleet now. Which I think was a critique a lot of people had when the game first came out. Now that one escort ship was available. I don't think the Heartless was available. No, that was with the Salamorn DLC. The other complaint people had was that you couldn't have a bigger ship for your capital ship.
We are exposed.
You don't say. Easy peasy. And we leveled up. New message from Master Scalander, Lord Captain. This time he's not reporting yet another attack, but the alleged location of one of the Xenos leaders. Achilles' aides have reported that said leader will be heading an attack on the paradise world Grantis. There is one catch. The planet belongs to Caligos Winterscale, another rogue trader. Master Scalander noted in his message that responding to a distress call is unlikely to be considered an incursion into someone else's territory. The governor of Grantis will most likely send out a call for aid the moment the raid begins. And if your void ship happens to be nearby, no one will question your reasons for landing. I don't know where Grantis is at. Focusing lens. Fine range of lance weapons is reduced by 5, but their damage is increased by 30%. I'd also gotten another thing, right? Alright. So all hands on deck. The flagship's torpedo tubes are loaded with 3 torpedo salvos instead of 1. Then duration, 2 rounds, plus 1 round for every 20 points of the Master Cannonier's demolition skill. So this is really good. I'm going to boarding party here as well. The flagship launches a boarding party to infiltrate an enemy ship, starting internal fires, and possibly causing engine damage that cripples the ship for 1 round. It'll only be used once per round. That's fine. Oh yeah, I realized you could upgrade these. The flagship flies in a straight line, making a full U-turn at the end of its movement. And the flagship flies in a straight line, making a full U-turn at the end of its movement, and can choose its final position from 3 directions. What I just upgraded? I require scrap. I'll have to use that at least one time to upgrade it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Upgraded on... whatever. What's upgrade for this do? Loads all micro cannons and lances which were fired during the acceleration phase. So lances is added. Okay, okay. I guess she'll go back on there with the swing run. We'll just put her there. I had people assigned to the post. I don't know why they got undone. Alright, who's our second best option? I see a 65. There you go. Alright. We'll go ahead and level up while we're at it. Yes, I wonder if this triggers his extra attack. There's also this one. Counterattack stance. So defensive stance now has a -10 penalty to weapon skill for attacks of opportunity granted by this ability instead of -20. These attacks of opportunity deal an additional +7 damage. Absolutely. This seems like it'd be pretty good. Reprieve. The Executioner used Reckless Abandon in the previous round by the start of their turn, so as temporary wounds, they heal for 15 wounds. I did the same thing for her. So she does heal in other ways, but I do find that they go down fairly often. In fact, most of my party does. I have I just grabbed this Dueling Mastery. Grants 50% bonus to parry and toughness. Just having a debuff seems like a good idea. What does catch do? Yeah, let's do Kill Squad. Raid grants an ally an additional % damage against prey. I'll probably do Chain Maw. Public sentencing also seems pretty good, but we'll do Chain Maw first. So each subsequent hit scored by the Cybermassive against the apprehended enemy deals more damage. Stacks. Stacks reset and apprehend is used again. And I don't know, Warp Minds. After every 6 use of a psychic power by the Psyker, all enemies gain a stacking -5 penalty to all characteristics until the end of combat. Flash Fire. The cost of Wildfire is reduced by -1 AP for every 3 stacks of versatility after 4, instead of 4. And maybe Strength, because she needs more Strength for Power Armor, right? Or does she have enough? What do we got? I think she needs one more. I think it's 45. I'm sure it has the power of training, so maybe not. Doesn't matter. Alright, threads and faults. Whenever an enemy fails a resistance test against a navigator power, attacks against them gain 36% critical hit chance. The effect stacks, but is reset by a critical hit. Dual weapon combat's probably worth it. I assume that works with his shotgun and... or his, one weapon set, right? We'll try it. Doesn't work, so be it. Selfless resilience will probably be good on her. She's also an officer. There's also this. Let's do this. Allies affected by any of the Vanguard's abilities gain plus 9% armor for 1 round. Does not stack. Cool. Let's figure out where this Grantis planet's at. I assume this will tell us. Ladium Stellos. We've been there before. There it is. We can jump straight there if we need to. Now, we haven't explored these yet, and we haven't explored these 3 up here. Everything else to the east has been explored. Alright. Well, no reason not to just jump straight there next time. Spend the planet, and then we'll come back and explore these 4, and then these 3 up here. Check in on these real quick. Oh, Lord Captain. Received a report from Dargonus. Some common folk from the now ruined Scipione 84-249 have succumbed to the heresy of defiance. Forming into gangs known as the Engine Vandals, they now ride across the waste on wasteland-adapted cleaning Goliaths. They've declared themselves outside the law, raiding the hive's outskirts only to escape retribution in the toxic wastelands. Bereft of the grace of shelter behind the walls of the blessed hives, they're willing to do anything to prolong their fleeting lives under the open sky. They curse your lordship's apparent cruelty. Rumor has it that the Foreman clan in charge of debris removal and the ruins of Scipione associates with these vandals. We could pass on your words to the renegades via the Foreman, or force them to disclose the locations of the rebels' nomadic camps. Well, what is this Foreman clan? It's a union of workers and technomats who used to serve in the lower levels of Scipione. Small-scale shift bosses, useful common folk who prove their worth with diligent labor and valuable knowledge. Of course, they rank much lower than the esteemed merchants, to say nothing of the aristocrats, but the common folk heed their kin. The Foremen have both the authority and the ability to manage them. The Scipians keep them themselves, but the Foremen have not shown any signs of disloyalty. They were the first to volunteer to return to the ruins of Scipione 84-249 and start clearing the rubble. They are certainly useful and well accustomed to praising the Emperor through their labor. Moreover, their grief at the loss of their home and the resilience with which they have borne it have made them heroes and martyrs in the eyes of the other commoners. How did they survive in the wastelands? And why did they reject my rule? It is a rather uncomfortable way of life, your lordship. They are always on the run from acid rains and hurricanes, keeping a decent distance from the hives if they do not plan on raiding at that moment. They get their food from abandoned outposts, paying for it with the lives of those killed by autonomous security systems. Water and promethium are rationed very strictly. They live by marauding, occasional hunting, and plundering, sometimes their own kin, and sometimes the outskirts of the hives. They are a tribe of degenerates and barbarians that is rapidly developing its own clan culture. The civilized residents of the hives shoot the scum any chance they get. What should you hear my advisors have to say? If the Engine Vandals have managed to tame the ancient machine spirits, then that means that there are technomats or even tech priests among their ranks. That renders them negotiable. It'd be efficient to utilize such renegades instead of disposing of them. I promise a reward for every piece of technology found in the wastelands of Dargonus, a return to the dynasty, or ensure their obedience and tractability. If you wish to exterminate them, Alantok, do not waste your time on hunting them down. Instead, deceive them into destroying each other. Tempt them with a prize, a weapon, or trophy that they can fight over. After the Monkai are finished slicing each other up for the right to obtain it, your warriors will finish the deed. This tactic often proves effective against your kind. The aristocrats of Dargonus despise them, but are also secretly afraid of them, correct? Renegades who can invoke such fear. I wonder, had there been such exiles in my house, would their presence have curbed the ambitions of my brothers and sisters? Would they have supported me in case of conflict? Oh, I'm scheming and conspiring right now, am I not? Bravo, Lady Cassia. Do not be ashamed of the unique abilities bestowed upon you by your heritage. They are your birthright. The web teaches to look for the enemy's vulnerability and what drives them. If the enemy is compelled to seek sustenance by attacking your domain, prepare a trap full of poison gifts. Let them eat and drink to their heart's content. The poison will weaken them, and then you will strike. Pascal's option. We get mechanisms, we do need that. We'll also get Wasteland Generator. This ancient component of a Dargonus fleet frigate was discovered in the waste by the engine vandals and presented to the rogue trader. Torpedo tubes capable of firing 5 short burning plasma torpedoes with 19 damage warheads. Also lose 1 profit factor. A Lady Cassia. We'll get +1 security, and leader of the engine vandals. Rogue trader gains +1 MP. Bella. Death Cult Power Blade. And +1 complacency. An Elliot Wasteland Twister. An ancient weapon that once belonged to the leader of the engine vandals, members of Dargonus Wastelands. And complacency +1. I want to lose profit factor, though I do need the mechanisms, like, badly. Might just do this. We'll do as Cabela says. Lay down bait and poison the vandals. Plus, I'm an arbitrator, so it makes sense to be more law-abiding and try and get rid of the vandals. Poison is but a tool. The enemy will be condemned by their own vices. The vandals took the bait. A defenseless caravan laden with provisions. The gangs feasted, unaware that the poison and drink were flavored with powerful toxins. A wave of sudden death soon swept across the wastelands, followed by a ruthless punitive raid. The tribe's best warriors have died in the slaughter. The survivors are taken in by the Foreman clan. But workers are always needed for rebel removal. It'll be years before the engine vandals' numbers replenish. They can pose a threat once again. I need reputation. We could do these as well. So I'm probably going to grab this because I am an arbitrator. But we have guilds. As the population of Dargonus grows, the old ways must be improved upon. Allowing the artisans to unite in guilds in order to protect their rights and control entire hive segments will cause an explosive growth of industry. This in turn will bring about devastating storms and acid rains pouring down from the poison atmosphere. Also give us mechanisms. This does not. The Seasons of War. As the population of Dargonus grows, the old ways must be improved upon. The most audacious Underhive gangs will form the planet's new elite. While leaving them to fight for territory, the rogue trader will be able to select the most vicious servants. And Adeptus Arbites. As the population of Dargonus grows, the old ways must be improved upon. The creation of fortresses of justice will establish the rule of law and attract reliable merchants and partners. So it blocks guilds and Season of Wars. We got Shield of the Emperor completed already. And then we get 3 weapons and 3 adamantine. Or cost 3 weapons, 3 adamantine. We'll get Caligai of St. Keith. Whenever the wearer performs a heroic act or desperate measure, they recover all their wounds and gain +2 AP this turn. Imperial Navy plus 5,000 reputation and +3 security. I don't have any of this stuff ready to go. Alright. So I'll call it here. Next time we'll head to Palladium Stellos and save our planet. Or save Caligos's planet. But either way for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.